Once we finish, I'll give it. Hi guys, for today, the worksheet from today, pretty much what we've been working with, right? Absolute value. So let me clear this up. Alright, so like I said, this is basically what we've been working with. Absolute value, looking at my question 1a, just drop the sign, right? Absolute value of negative 3 becomes positive 3. The absolute value of negative 77 becomes positive 77. Then I move on to a little bit more. Let me take a look at 2a. That was going to look like negative 7 minus 7. If I look at the second one, the absolute value of 7 became 7, but I'm writing it as a negative because there's a negative sign on the outside. If the negative sign was on the inside, I would have written it as positive 7. But because the negative sign is on the outside, I write it as a minus 7. Alright, so how much is negative 7 minus 7? What is it? No, negative 7 minus 7, how much is that? Not 0. Negative 14.
Good morning, Golden Valley Bulldogs. Here are your daily announcements for Thursday, September 15th, 2016.
So the front side, like I said, it's pretty much like what we've been looking at. There's the inside becomes positive, whether it was positive or negative to begin with. The inside becomes positive, but do respect the signs on the outside. But now let me take a look at the back. The back, it's going to be a couple things in there. And what I mean with a couple things is, inside the absolute value, we're going to have some operations. Right? We're going to add and subtract or multiply or something inside the absolute value. So let me take a look at number 2 from the back. Let me just write as an absolute value of a negative 11. Right, that I'm writing it as it is. Minus, I'm still writing my absolute values. How much is 3 minus 5? Negative 2. So I'm going to write my negative 2 on the inside. I'm not dropping the absolute values just yet. And then I have minus the absolute value of 8. If you notice, all I did was simplify the inside of each absolute value. And in 3 minus 5, we simplified as a negative 2. Now, let me drop the absolute values. And remember, make everything inside positive. So I have 11 minus 2 minus 8. And the minus is because they were the negative sign, the minus, was outside of the absolute value. So how much is 11 minus 2 minus 8? 1. So my answer will be 1. So above, write the simplification. So if you notice, above the question, I wrote the simplification. I did not drop the absolute values. At the bottom, I did drop my absolute values. Work them out for your answer. So let me skip to, let's say, number 7. I'm going to write a big absolute value. How much is 48 minus 13 plus 9? Okay, 35, you have the 48 minus 13. It's 35 plus 9. 35 plus 9? 44. 44. So we have the absolute value of 44 minus 16. Remember, simplify the absolute value first. Once you simplify the absolute value, right below it, drop the absolute value sign. Remember, make the inside positive. So this looks like 44 minus 16. How much is that? 28. Let me do one more. Look at number 9. Absolute value 26 minus, how much is, on the second absolute value, how much is negative 17 plus 19? 2. plus 53. Right? Simplify each absolute value first. So the inside, simplify it. Right below it, I'm going to drop the absolute value sign. So I'm going to go 26 minus 2 plus 53. Once again, I have the minus 2 because the minus is outside of the absolute value. I know 26 minus 2 is 24. How much is 24 plus 53? 79. How much is 24 plus 53? 24 plus 53? 77. 77. Thank you. So that's our difference for today. The absolute values, they need simplification. So simplify the absolute value before you convert it to a positive. Right? Simplify your absolute value. Some of them are a little harder, like the one in number 7. Some of them are not that difficult, like number 5. Right? 5 minus 18, that's not that difficult. But like the one in number 7, we have 3 numbers inside. That's a little more difficult. Remember, simplify the inside before you drop the absolute value. Does that make sense? Any questions?